Last session we have seen static, no? Before the static, you have any questions? What else we covered last class? This keyword. You have any questions with that? See, you whatever doubts you have, they are temporary doubts. As I progress the class, all will be cleared. In fact, now you are thinking, I'll ask doubts, this thing, that thing. As I progress with the class, no doubts will come. Okay, because we are just seeing the introduction. Here and there some doubts might come. Further stage, no doubts only will be there. Okay, because that's how we are setting the basics now. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll type the yesterday's program. We are going with static now. Okay. So static we are seeing, and when we are saying static, some points we can see. These points you can write down. Okay, I'll just read it out to you. But some points you might understand, some you might not understand. So some points you can list. Okay, just I'll tell it out to you now. See, static basically is a keyword. See, now I am not writing S caps. Static is a keyword in Java. Okay. So we are going through static now. Static is basically a keyword in Java. Now why it is used static? We are discussing about static now. Okay. It is used for declaring the members of the class. What members you can declare with static? Variables, methods or blocks. Then it cannot be used with local variables. This point also I told you yesterday. Then next, static keyword cannot be used with constructor because constructor is related to instance creation. We'll be discussing this point. You can make a note of it. Static members belong to class. We'll be discussing some point. All these points we have to discuss now. They belong to class. Instance members belong to instance. Static members belong to class. Okay. Now static members can be accessed without creating an object. Static members can be accessed without creating an object. Next, static members, that is static block and method, cannot access instance member. This is one point what we will be seeing now. Static members cannot access instance member. All these points we will be discussing. Okay, they cannot access instance members. Why you know? See, the meaning of that point is, okay, I'll be telling you that static, okay, it's simple, as simple as this. I'll write it to the simple program. Int a, this is the instance member now. If I want to access that in m1 method, SOP, value of a, I'm not trying to print now, just check, I'm trying to access. What am I trying to access? Instance variable in static context. This is not possible. Why? It has not come into existence. Instance members come into existence only when the instance is created. So there's technical reason for it. But this point, you keep it in mind. I'll be giving you plenty of examples for making you understand each and every point. Okay. So here we are telling very clearly, see the static members, static block. It might be a block or it might be a method. They cannot access what? Non-static members. Non-static means instance. Okay. Instance variables cannot, means I'm elaborating that point now. Instance variables cannot be used in static context. Instance variable int a cannot be used in static context. Static context means static area. It cannot be used in static area. Which are okay. The static context means it can be either a block or a method directly. Next, instance method cannot be invoked from static method. Means you'll be having method now. One method will invoke one another method. So if you want to invoke an instance method from a static method, it will not be possible. Okay, we'll be seeing all this with example. Now, this is very important point now. But you will not get this full point now. Later on, you'll be understanding it. This keyword can be used in, this keyword cannot be used in static context. It cannot be used. If you try to use it in static context, means either in a static method or in a static block, it will give you error. You cannot use this keyword in a static context. Okay. Because this keyword is used to work with what? Instance members. Very simple. Okay, we'll be seeing with the example only. On the points we'll be seeing with the example. This keyword will be used to work with instance variables, and instance is used to work with instance variables, and instance variables cannot be accessed in static context. Yes or no? You cannot access instance variable in static context. This is the meaning. Okay, I'll be revising these points to you. This keyword can be used to access only this keyword, again one more point, cannot be used to access static variables also, because static variables belong to class. This keyword is used for accessing only instance variables. Okay, and lastly, to revise, this is a reference variable which refers to current object. Understood? This is a reference variable which will refer to current object. But static variables and static methods can be accessed in instance method. By chance, see, this is static variable. And now M1 is instance method. Static members can be accessed in instance method or instance block, but ulta is not possible. What? Static members can be accessed in instance method or instance block, but members cannot be accessed in static method or static block. We'll be seeing that with the example. And finally, static keyword can be used with the following members of the class. Which are they now? 3: variables, methods, blocks. So we'll be first covering these examples, then we'll see the rest of the note. This is the introduction now. Okay. So the next thing is, I'll be taking the first point now, variables. And we'll discuss how to work with variables. Then I'll teach you methods. So we'll see all the examples, then you can write all these points. So many points are there. Okay. Then we'll cover. It'll be easy for you. So let's see all the examples now. That was just an intro to which one? Static keyword in Java. It's basically a keyword which can be used with members of the class. Okay. Yesterday I wrote some 3 programs. We'll check out that first. Okay. So I'll write on class. It will have some static members. We'll see how to access it first. Okay. Then we'll have one member static, one member instance, and we'll see how to work with static member and instance member. Then we'll see the behavior of static variable. 3 examples I gave you now. So that only we'll go and see now. Here. See, static is a very big subject. It's not as simple as you're thinking. It might in your notes which you have seen, it might be in complete reference or it might be in Balguru Swami. Static is hardly half a page or 1 page. It is not as simple. But it is from that book point of view. Okay, from Java point of view it is big, but it is simple only. Simple means what? When I explain it will become simple. Understood, no? Otherwise, we'll take one lifetime for understanding static. So work hard on this. See, this is almost all we are finishing off with class data type. Once it is over, then other data types will be easy. And hardly you have to struggle for understanding class data type 10 days. Like instance variable, methods, blocks, all that you have to struggle for 10 to 15 days. Once you struggle in Java for this 10 to 15 days, rest of the subject becomes easy. Understood? So it is that simple. Like you can complete learning a user defined data type in Java within 10 to 15 days. But in C, you might think, no, okay, in Java it is so tough to learn what a class is. But in C, to understand a structure, how many days will you take? It is a never ending subject because you'll have pointers. It is a very tough subject. And on top of that, it is so difficult also. And it is not user friendly also. It cannot implement tools. There's so many drawbacks. At the same time, it is not supporting the developer in a full-fledged manner. At the same time, if you see in Java, it is simple also, and it is supporting the developer in a more better way. So obviously, you choose the languages. Clear? So class, hello. So we'll say this now. We'll start off with static. See, all these examples, it's not that book cannot give you. They can give you. But the size of the book will become big. Understood? And you will not buy. Now, who will be under loss? Book people, no. So that's why I will not do it. They'll give only which you like. 10 pages, 20 pages. That's the problem. See, size of the book doesn't show how big the language is. Language will remain as it is. Okay. But now that language can be compressed into 10 pages which you like, or it can be studied in 1000 pages also. More you study, it is good for you. Language will remain as it is. You can't hurry to learn the language, okay, or you can't hasten up to learn hasten up means fasten to learn the language also. It remains as it is. You have to explore what it is. and this is what we are doing now, exploring. So now this is the first time we are seeing now static member. So check now, static int A, and now we are initializing the static variables with what? Initially I'll be doing with hard coding. Later on we'll see how to give the values in different ways. Static int A is equal, what is the value I gave yesterday? Static int B is equal to, okay, any value you can give, 20. Okay, then I can have static void M1, and never say, means if I ask you what are the members of the class, never tell that there are two instance variables A and B declared as static. That's a very wrong phrase of the statement. Static members are only different, instance members are only different. So you should tell how many members are there now? 3 members, 2 static variables, 1 static method, like that you have to tell. Understood? So now next we'll print something like this. Yeah, I'm printing only A there. If you want, you can print B also. Okay, we'll print both. Okay, next. You see how will I access the member? First way. This is the first way. There are many ways you can access. The first way is what? With, I'll declare a variable. Hello, H is equal to null. I can access it with what? Variable name. So I can print. Carefully notice, you might ask now, what is the difference? Here I am accessing the static members within the same class, where in M1 method I am accessing A and B, so it will become within the same class. So if you want to access the static members within the same class, you will access it directly. But if you want to access the same static member outside the class, in another class, how will I access it? Hello dot, sorry, H dot with the dot operator. Getting it? Are you following the difference? See, you can see the difference between this print and this print now. Everything is same, but only thing is H dot A. Means where is A now? It is in a class called as hello. Now value of B is plus H dot B. Done? And similarly I can call the method also H dot M1. Everything is valid here. It works. So this is the output of which one? In M1 I'll print value of A in M1 method. You put prints, clear prints you put, you'll understand. This will be in main. See first which one? Main will get executed, correct? Huh? Means first these print statements will be executed and then M1 will be called. Yes or no? Clear this? Okay. Now see, static members come to life when the class is loaded into JVM. That's why we can access them without creating an object. So why we can access them without creating an object? Did I create the object here? Without creating an object I am accessing now. Why I can access? Because they come to existence when the class is loaded into the JVM. Okay. So I'll be explaining what is class getting loaded into the JVM. There are, before an object gets created, there are 2 phases. One phase is class loading phase, other phase is instance creation phase or object creation phase. There are 2 phases. Both the phases I'll explain you. Second phase I've explained you in depth. All these days I was explaining you what? Only the second part. What happens when and how an object gets created, life cycle of it and all that. Only one thing is missing. I just generally used to tell you, class will be loaded into JVM, class will be loaded into JVM and the object will be created. But the first part I was not focusing more. That first part I'll focus very shortly now. Okay, second part I have completed. Which one? Object creation phase. Only class loading phase I have to discuss, which I'll do. So anyway, see, you can access the static variables without creation of an object. Are you getting this? Directly with the help of reference variable. This is one way. Another way we can access is it. The second way how you can access is so I am going to access it. Directly I will access First way, one second, with reference second way early access with class name. See, first get the grip of working with it, then we'll study how it works and all. Are you following now? First get the grip of working. Don't bother how it means how you're getting the output now. First learn how to work with static members. Then this will become easy. So this is second way now. If you want, you can comment all this. Okay, now we'll compile. So I'm accessing it with class name. Done. Third way, you can access it without creating an object. That is also possible. See, when an object is created, remember class is also loaded, object is also created. So that is why after creating an object, no doubt you can easily access it. You can easily access it. Got it now? So I've created the object. So these are the three ways you can access the static members. Are you clear with this example? Okay. Next, if you want, you can write another program, but I'll modify it here itself. You can write another program. What is the next example? Okay. What if I am having instance member like this? What if I am having an instance member? Okay. So now say we'll try with the first approach, then we'll try with the second approach, then we'll try with the third approach. First of all, I am not using anything here. But see, here only I'll get the error. First, this program only I'll get the error. Why? We are trying to access an instance member in static context. Understood? We are trying to access an instance member in static context. Instance members cannot be accessed in static context because, instance members do not come into existence when the class is loaded into the JVM. Okay, so there are two phases. See, only when they are existing you can access it. Remember that. If it is not existing, if it is not alive, how will you access it? Correct? No. So instance members cannot be accessed in the static context. This is we are seeing with examples now. Okay. See, there are two phases. I'll be explaining you with diagrams very clearly, very shortly. But see, a class will be loaded into the JVM. Okay, a class will be loaded into the JVM under there are many ways. Again, there are many ways how a class gets loaded into the JVM. One way how a class gets loaded into the JVM is by using Java command. Another way how a class gets loaded into JVM is new keyword. Another way means these are different ways a class gets loaded into JVM. Different ways a class gets loaded into JVM. One is with Java command, second one is new keyword, third one is when you access static members. When you access any member, you can access a method or you can access a variable. You can access things which are having names, no? So you can access a variable or you can access a method. Definitely that time class is loaded into the JVM. So that's why, see, Java command. Now what is the difference between all these three, if you ask me? First one, Java command is used for loading only the first class. First class which contains the main method. Still clear explanation I'll give you later. Okay, but Java command is used for loading a class. Java command can be used, but it will be used for loading the class which contains only the main method. Okay, basically what this Java command does is, still more info is there I'll be giving you. This starts the JVM. Java command starts the JVM. Simultaneously it will load the class what you are mentioning here. Two things it will do. It will start the JVM and it will load the class which are giving name here. Okay, so if the class is found, it will load. If the class is not found, what will happen? No class definition found error you will get, no? Yes or no? We have seen this error. If the class is, JVM will start and then it will try to load the class. Okay, so but if the class is not found, it will give you no class definition found error. If it is found, it will be loaded. If it is found, it will be loaded. Are you clear? But Java command will do two things. One, it will start the JVM and it will load the class. And after loading this class, in that particular class, it will look for main method. It will look for main method. Generally, this is one class. The first class what we load into the JVM, no, an object of that class is never created. Have you till now created any time demo object? We have created other objects. I will explain you why also. The first class which gets loaded into the JVM, no, we never create an object of it. Just keep all these things in mind. Today plenty of questions will come. Plenty. Okay, because we will talk more things today. Solution to all this and answers to all this will be coming in the next class. I am just giving intro to all this. So I am giving intro, definitely a lot of questions will come. Okay, so Java command will start the JVM. After starting the JVM, the demo.class is loaded into the JVM if found. Understood now? So generally an object of this class, the first class, is never created. Generally. Why also we will see. Okay, why also I will take it. Clear? Fine. So this is, but anyway, one way of loading a class into the JVM is Java command. One way of loading a class into the JVM is Java command. If you want, you can load a class into the JVM with the help of new keyword. You understood? Only class gets loaded. That's it. And in that class, which method is executed? Only main. Oh, that also will cover off. Java command will start the JVM and it will load this class. In this class, what it will do? JVM will not create an object of demo. Blindly in this class, which method will be accessed? Main. In demo class, you can have other members. I'm not telling no, which we have written earlier. Nowadays, we have stopped writing methods in what? Demo class. We start shifting the methods in other classes. But earlier we had written this public static void main, then we had written M1, we had written M2. But when the JVM loads this class into the JVM, when it loads demo class into the JVM, what happens is it look for only main method. If class is not there, no class definition found error. If method is not there, no such method found error. You know these two errors now? Okay, you can have many members, but it will not look for that, it will call only main. So that is how this execution process happens. Anyway, this is one of the way you can load a class into the JVM. Next, what will this new command do? Okay, this will do two things. It will load the class also, plus it will create the object also. Two things it will do. Okay, it will load the class also, plus it will create the object also. Two things will happen here. So new, it will load the class. Okay, means see, first class is loaded with the help of Java command. First class is loaded with the help of Java command. Second, other classes now, which is required in your program. Other classes which is required in your program will be loaded with what? New keyword. Or by accessing a static member. Either of these two ways. Other classes will be loaded in these two ways now. Either you will tell box B is equal to new box. So now what happens? Box start class is loaded plus object is created. Okay, box B1 is equal to new box, I'll write. But box B2 is equal to new box. This time what happens? Only object is created this time. You can have M1 method. Because a class is loaded only once into the JVM. Only object will be created. But next time I say test T1 is equal to new test. Now test start class is loaded plus object is created. So like this, one by one, as your program goes on executing, classes will be loaded, objects will be created. So you'll be writing plenty of classes. Doesn't mean that all the objects are created. All the classes will be lying in the hard disk. Okay, one by one, as your program goes on executing, the user defined data types will get loaded into the JVM. Here loading also happens, object also gets created. Test T2 is equal to new test. What happens? Only object. Test T3 is equal to new test. What happens? Only object. So objects you can create n number of times, but one class is loaded only once. So here box.class got loaded, here test.class got loaded. Supposingly I am having fun, one more class, f1 is equal to new fun. What happens? Now fun.class is loaded into the JVM plus object is created. Are you getting it now? Okay, but okay, here in new class also is loaded, object also is created. Two things will happen. First time only, second time only objects will be created. Understand the behavior of new properly. First time it will load and create the object. Second time it will only create the object. New is a very intelligent keyword. It checks is the class there in the JVM. If it is not there, then it will load it. Okay, how are the classes loaded into JVM? By using class path variable. By using class path variable. Understood? Let it be Java or let it be using new, let it be this. With the help of class path variable only it will be loading. That you don't forget. Okay, so classes are loaded like this, and new is very intelligent enough to load only for the first time, and then objects will be created. Now, so this one, second one is over with the help of new. Third one now. You understanding what is Java demo now? That is first. Second one is with new. Third one now with the help of static member. See, we have written our hello class just now. Hello.a. I am accessing what? Static members. Yes, it will be loaded. Which class will be loaded? Hello class. But object is not created. Only class is loaded. Understood? Only class will be loaded. Object will not be created. Next, I will write hello.m1. I am accessing a method here. Yes, class will be loaded. Object is not created. But after doing these two, if I write hello h1 is equal to new hello, only object will be created. Because class was already loaded in the first stage itself. Yes or no? Class was loaded in this line. Then here also it was loaded. It will directly call. But here object will be created. But when the class is loaded in these two phases, only static members have come into existence. Instance members have not come into existence. So to work with instance members, we have to create what? Objects. Understood now? If I access a static member, static members have come into existence. But instance members have not come into existence. Only when they come into existence, then only you can work with them. No? So I have to create the object to bring instance members into existence. But if I don't write these two lines, directly if I write one line, what will happen? Class also is loaded, object also is created. Class also is loaded, object also will be created. After creating the object, you can access h1.a or hello.a. you can access. Means you can access static member plus instance member, both you can access. After creating the object, you can. That's what we did just now. Accessing member by creating objects. So after creating the object, I can do it in what way? Hello.a also fine. I have not written these two lines now. So if I do like this, what will happen now? I can access the members by creating the object or without creating the object. It's my vision. What I am trying to say is, after creating the object, you can access the instance members or you can access the static members also. Now how will you access the instance members? h1.a. How will you access static members? Class name.a or h1.a. That's your vision. But both have come into existence. Are you clear with this? Okay. Now by chance, first, okay, if I write these lines and then create the object, class is loaded here itself. But if I don't write these two lines and directly if I create the object, here the class is loaded and object is created. Here class is loaded and object is created. Okay, again if I want, I can create one more object of hello. Hello h2 is equal to new hello. That time only objects will be created. Understood? And now static variables will belong to class. There will be only one copy. Static variables, there will be only one copy. That example I'll cover next. So we are now seeing how to, means if your class is having both types of member, instance member also plus static member, how to work with your class. Your class can have both, combination of both. It's not that your class should have only static members, only instance members. It can have combination of both. So since it can have combination of both, we should know how to work with both the members. Are you clear with this? Any questions? Shall I clear all this? Shall we?
Have a static class?
We cannot have, I told you static keyword, his question is can I have static class? Understood? The answer is, I told you very clearly at the beginning of the class, static is used for declaring members of the class. Yes or no? So how will you use static now? With class. Members I told you. That is one thing. But one more thing, static keyword can be used with the class, provided only with inner classes. There is something called as inner class which I will be covering later. Means class hello will be there. Inside class hello you will have in class A. This is what we have to discuss. But this becomes a member of hello now. So static keyword can be used only with members. Now outside class cannot have static keyword. That is wrong. Static keyword only for members of the class. But do not forget that rule. So here this can be static. We'll be seeing this later, inner classes later. Clear this? First we'll learn the normal members, then we can go for advanced things. Because see here, if you know how to design one class properly, then your inner class will be designed according to that. So you should know how to design one class perfectly first. Understood? Are you clear with this? So shall we go with the example now, how to work with static members and instance members. Here you have any question?
So like static variable have only one copy. So what about static methods?
We'll see. Okay, so we'll see about static methods. So here we are talking about variables. For initially I told I'll be focusing on variables. Okay, shall I clear all this? See, you get plenty of doubts. I am only telling you. I know this is the phase where you get a lot of doubts. You don't have to worry. All your doubts will be clarified within 1 or 2 sessions. Okay, because this is the first time you have started understanding something. That's why you are getting doubts. So you should be happy. You get doubts when you understand something. No? So that's good sign now. If you're getting so many doubts means you understood a lot of things. Clear? When you will not get doubts, in college you ask doubts, you'll never ask. Why? You don't understand. So here you are understanding, that's why you are asking doubts. That is one good sign now. Doubts will be clarified, man, don't worry. Okay, because see, I'll introduce something, next class I'll be clearing it. Again I'll introduce something, next class I'll be clearing it. Obviously the course is going in that way. So what I do is, I make you introduce something, make you work something in the lab for that day. Next day when you come, whatever doubts you are having, that I'll be clearing. This is a training what I do. I will introduce something. I see to that you go and practice. When you practice, what will happen? You will not get output or you will get doubts. So I want you to come prepared in that way. So that in class it becomes interesting and interactive like this. And that is the reason I always, last part of the class, what I do, I give intro and leave it off. Understood? Okay, let's see now. There's an instance member. But okay, instance member B. We are hard coding it, no problem. But let's see how to work with it first. Okay. So now say here, you know the rule now. What is the problem now? I cannot access B. Why? Instance members cannot access, static members cannot access instance members. So you're getting the first point now. There are so many points to discuss and you can see the error now. Non-static variable B cannot be referenced from static context. Cannot be referenced from static context. So this is error. So you can comment it off. You cannot access it directly. Clear? Fine. So inside the class you cannot access. You know how to access instance members. You can access it directly, but only in instance members. What are the instance members? Instance method, constructor, there and all you can access instance members. Okay, more things to see, we'll see it now. So now, next, we'll try with this. I have commented everything, still I am not using anything. So next, I'll go with the first way. See this, we'll try to work. What did I do? Okay, so h dot a, it will print, h dot b, it will work, it will compile. But what will I get? Null pointer exception. H dot a, it will print, see there. H dot a output you will see. First, okay, I'll comment these both. Or one second. I'll bring M1 before here. Or both the static members, I'll bring first. It compiles, it executes. Value of A in main is 10, value of A in M1 is 10. I'm only printing in M1 A, not B. But the moment I access H dot B, what will I get? I'll get null pointer exception. See how we work with instance members now? End of main is not printing there. Why end of main is not printing? Because null pointer exception. But the same, if I remove null, it will not compile only. Why? Sorry. H dot. Yeah. What is the error we get? B. See, A might not have been. No, H might not have been initialized. But see, I'll comment this also. You'll get that error. You'll get that error. If you, without initializing H, you try to use it. Either you try to work with static member or you try to work with instance member. That is secondary. You'll get that error. Variable H might not have been initialized. So you have to mandatory tell null. So fine, that is okay now. But once I say null, H dot A I can access. H dot M1, yes, it will execute. But H dot B will be what? Null pointer exception. I'll compiled. Now see, null pointer exception. End of main is getting printed. We are having one statement here. After H dot B. Main A is getting executed. M1 gets executed. But we are getting null pointer exception. For B I am getting null pointer exception. It was static, it would have executed. So just I'll change it. It will execute, no issue. You will not get null pointer exception. But if I remove static, you get the error. Clear? Okay, this is the first way with what? Variable. So I cannot access without creating an object, which an instance member. Static here, clear now. Instance members have to be accessed only by creating an object. So this will fail. Similarly here, I'll access for both A and M1. Then I'll try to access what? B. Let's see what happens here. Here also I'll get compilation error. Non-static variable B cannot be accessed from static context. Means you cannot access B because it's an instance member. Are you clear? Okay. So if I comment this, it will work. So first understand your class can have both members, static members plus instance members it can have, and you should know how to work with it. Okay. So this is done. Now we'll comment here. You have any questions in the second way? Okay. So what we'll do now next, we'll go with the third way. That is with creating an object. Yes, here it will work perfectly fine. Instance variables are declared and initialized when the instance is created. So the default value of B will be what? We are giving a value. Yes, we are giving a value. It will be 20. After creating the object. With object I am accessing C now. We are accessing it with object. Value of A in main is 10, value of B in main is 20, value of A in M1 is 10. I called M1 method. Clear? Okay. So this is how you can work with instance members. Now more examples we'll see. Okay. We'll see more examples. What I'll do now, I'll take the same class. We'll go with one more program now. Class global demo. This global behavior demo we'll see. We'll see the third, which one? Program which I showed yesterday. Class hello. I will not initialize B, but I will initialize which one? Okay, so we are having, I'll remove this line also. What is required we'll take now. Okay, so hello world. So now what I'll do, hello. So next I'll create the objects. H1 is equal to new hello. And after creating the object, I can print the values. Concentrate more on which one? I'll remove the method also. Just I'll concentrate only on global value here. We are having one instance variable and one local variable. More than that, nothing else. So we have created the object and we are trying to print now h1 dot a, h1 dot b. So after that, okay, we'll run the program. h2 is already, okay, here. So the value of a is what? 10. Value of b is 0. See, if I don't give the value to static variable also, it will have the default value. Check out that also. 0. Okay. So that's why I am giving hard-coded value. Okay. So it is 10. So now what will be the answer? A will be 10, b will be 0. So to give a value to b, what will I say now? h1 dot b is equal to 10. Or I'll change this value. I'll make it as something like 2. A value I'm making 2, b value I'll make it as 10. So after giving the value, now we'll check. What is the value of b? We'll check. Value of b in h1 is, I'll change the output. Value of b in h1 is, initially it will be 0, later on it will be 10. Getting it now? Initially it is 0, later on it will be 10. So but how we are working with instance variables, check now. Okay. So then again same thing I'll do for what? h2 now. h2 is equal to new hello. h2 dot a, what will it print? 2 only. h2 dot b, 0 first. Later on what it will print? It will overwrite now. And you can print and see it will print 20. Correct? Done? So if you, means instance variables are different. So instance variables, how many instance variables will be there now? Depends on the number of instances you are creating. So the number of instance variables will depend on the number of instances you are creating in the program. But the number of static variables will be only 1. I have to prove that. I'll prove it. Okay. So you can see now, if I give a value of in h2, I gave the value as 20. Did it get affected in h1? It is not overwriting in h1, no? Okay. Similarly, I'll give a value in h3. Notice, see how the instance variable behaves first. Then we'll see how the behavior of static variable. h3 is equal to new hello. You know this behavior, but you have to focus more now, because the reason is we are going to some important concept. So h3 dot b you can check now. h3 dot a is 2 only. h3 dot b will be initially 0. Later on I will modify it to 30. So if any modification is done in h1 or h2 or h3, it is not affecting each other. So instance variables are independent of their own instance. Okay, check. So 0, 10, 0, 20, 0, 30. But A is same everywhere. You might ask, okay, I have hard coded there. No, let's see this. I'll modify. Okay. I'll modify with what? h2 dot a. You can modify it with any way. There are 4 ways you can access now. Hello dot a I can access. h1 dot a I can access. h2 dot a I can access. h3 dot a I can access. From wherever you access, all will refer to the same variable. Understood? There are 4 ways you can access, because there are 3 variables and one I can access it with class name. There are only 4 ways. So now what will I do? I will access h2 dot a is equal to 99. Now I'll print. See now, we'll print value of a now. Value of a is in h1 is plus h1 dot a in h2 in h3. You can check now. Not only this, you can access it with even hello also. Value of a in is hello dot a. Last 4 outputs you focus. 1, 2, 3, 4. What it is printing? 99. But B is not like that now. So which clearly shows static variables are, they behave globally. They behave globally. Because there is only one copy of it. And that too it will be, see, the difference is static variables will belong to class. instance variables will belong to instance. Understood? With diagram I'll show you next. I will show you all this with diagram. Where class will be there, where object will be there, all this will be seeing with diagram. Very clearly we will see it now. But are you clear? There's only one copy. Okay, they behave globally, but we do not call it as global. You know why? Because see, how I'm accessing, wherever I'm accessing, I'm saying h1.a or h2, means I have to access a with either the reference variable name or with class name. It is impossible to access directly. Can I access here? Only a? What will happen? Error. Because it look for a in main scope. This scope it will look. Where? In this scope it will search for a now. Where is a here? See here. Cannot find symbol. Variable a. What is a? So that's why we say static variables behave globally but are not global. There is no global behavior concept in Java. There is no concept of global behavior. Okay. There is no. You can take it like this. Behavior. Okay. There is no concept of global in Java. There is no concept of global in Java. Java does not have global concept. Global concept means you declare one variable somewhere which can be accessed anywhere. Understood? Anywhere, easily, very easily you can access, directly you will access, which is possible in C. Java is not encouraging that. Why? Because Java is complete object oriented language. Complete object oriented language means you have to write anything you write, you should write it within a class. Anything you write, you should write it within a class. You cannot write, it's in C++, this headache is there. Okay, you can write inside the class or you can write outside class, something like prototype you say, na? There is confusion. So now see, it's very clear here. Follow one rule. But there, when you're writing the code now, you might get a confusion. Whether you'll write inside or whether you'll write outside. Understood? Those confusions will come out. But here it is very clear, write it within a class itself. So do not compare languages. As I tell you, you might get confused because you don't know any language properly. C also you don't know, C++ also you don't know, Java also you don't know. So obviously how will you compare? So you can compare languages only when you are thorough with a language. Clear this? Anyway, Java is complete object oriented language, so you can declare a variable outside a class. So you'll write it within a class. And when you're writing it inside a class, you can make it either as static variable or you can make it as instance variable. It's up to you. Okay, if you make it as instance variable, you have to create an object and access it. If you want to make it as static variable, you can access it directly. Now next question you'll have, when should I go for static variable, when should I go for instance variable? See, sometimes it so happens one value will be needed for all the instances. One same value will be needed for what? All instances. Understood? That time you can go for static variable. I'll give you examples. But in some cases what will happen? I want different values for different instances. So that's when I'll go for instance variable. Like box we have seen very clearly. In one instance I want 1, 2, 3. In one instance I want 5, 6, 7. Like that. Okay. In class box only, like in class box, int w, h and d is there. These are all instance members. Can you give any properties so that? Okay, let us assume the price of any box is fixed. Like, assuming no, it will be definitely different because of the size and all. But assuming that we want same price for everything, static int price is equal to 10. What will happen now? You don't have to worry now. Whether you create B1, B2, B3, all will have the same value. So if you want a value which is standard to all your instances, you can go for static variable. But if you want different now, this is how you do. So this is how you design a class. Are you getting the idea now? Okay, it's up to you. Whether you want to make it as static variable or whether you make it as instance variable. But again, it's up to us means it will be depending on logic what we are writing. Simply I will not declare static, simply I will not declare instance. Okay, if any value is required commonly for all the instances, make it as static. Okay, and if you want different values for different instances, better you make it as instance variable. Clear this? Okay, so we completed with variables. Okay, still I'll continue. You might get doubts, hold it back. It will be cleared in the coming sessions. Okay, because it's a big topic. Okay, so are you clear with this now? Okay, doubts we'll hold on. We'll say block. Now we'll say block also. Okay. Now you can have in a class you can have static block. So how will you write a static block now? Very simple. Class hello. So you can have other members, that I am not stopping. You can have static int A, static int B, that is secondary. Whether you have static variable or instance variable, that is secondary now. Int C is instance variable. Fine. That you leave now. See this. If you write a block with static keyword, it becomes static block. Understood? You have written instance blocks. You have seen two types of blocks already. Static, you have seen instance block and you have seen local block. Instance blocks are written at class level. Local blocks are written inside method level. They are method level blocks. But instance blocks are written at class level. Static blocks also are written at class level itself. We'll write it here. If you want, see, this is instance block. I'll write both. You want to write static block also, you want to write instance block also, nothing to worry. So I'll just write SOP inside static block. SOP inside instance block. See, first see the output, then later on we'll start understanding which one will be used for what. Understood? Why you use it and all that and all we'll see later. Don't bother about why we use, when we use. First learn how to use, how to write, how to get output. First learn that. Then I'll give you scenarios. You will only understand where to use, when to use, why to use. Start coding. That's not a problem. Okay. Then I have one constructor also. SOP inside constructor. You can have M1 method also. Everything will continue. And you can have finalize also. In methods you can have n number. A very interesting story will follow here now. You can write SOP inside M1 and write SOP inside finalize. Clear? If you want to understand now what you do, the program, see class demo, here I am trying to prove that a class is loaded only once into the JVM. In this, what I am trying to teach you, see, global concept is over. We are moving to the next concept. What is the next concept we are moving? Class is loaded only once. Objects are created n number of times. To give you a demo of that concept, I am taking this example. Understood? So classes are loaded only once, but objects you can create n number of times. So take this example now. Say this now. PSVM. So okay, we'll give some value to A and B. A is 1, B is 2. Whatever value you want you give. See, I'll write hello, H is equal to null. Simply run the program. Don't do anything. Simply run main. Nothing will happen. Means hello.class is not loaded. That clearly shows when you say hello H is equal to null, classes are not loaded into JVM. Classes are actually loaded into JVM when you say Java new or when you access a static member. It is not loaded. Check. If you are trying to declare a variable, it will not. The class will not be loaded into the JVM. So what I'll do, I'll just print. What do you know? SOP either h dot a. Yeah, you do this much. So you know, can you guess what's the output? I'll print here SOP begin main, SOP end main. So when I run this program, begin main will print. Here hello class is not loaded, but here hello class will be loaded. But when hello class is loaded, static block gets executed. So first begin main, your output will be inside static block, then it will print A. We are not at all calling the block. The block will be executed automatically when the class is loaded. Which block? Static block. And then it will print. See, the output would be this. The output what you can predict here is begin main inside static, then a value of A, means your value, this line, value of A is, means write on value of A is something you write, it will print 1, then it will print end main. So this extra print will come, which one? Inside static. 3 you know, it will print, but you can see the extra output. So what exactly is happening during class loading time now? If you ask me that question. Okay, see generally when a class is loaded into the JVM, okay, there are few things which happen. Okay, elaborately I'll tell next session, elaborately. Just we'll make a few points now. When a class is loaded into the JVM, first what happens? Static variables are declared and initialized. First they'll come to life. Okay, then next, static block gets executed immediately. So these are the two things which happen when class is loaded. But still more points are there, I'll be telling you later. Just initially timing you understand this much. Only two things will happen. Okay, and this will happen only once. Remember, classes are loaded only once into the JVM. Why should the JVM unnecessarily load the classes? Understood? And why are classes loaded? You are understanding now? Because to create the object, the skeleton of the class is required. No? So that's the reason classes will be loaded. Now what happens when object is created? So keep the points clear and notice the program. First point, what will happen? Instance variables are declared and initialized. Then what happens? Can you guess? Instance block gets executed. Then can you guess what happens? Constructor gets executed. See, object creation you are very comfortable, you don't have problems here. This phase we are learning. Lastly, the reference of the object is given to reference variable. Yes or no? The address of the object will be provided to reference variable. So reference of object is given to reference variable. Means you'll write now hello h1 is equal to new hello. The new hello will be given to h1. As simple as. So this you are very much comfortable, because why you are comfortable? You have invested 10 days, don't forget that. Understood? So obviously this will also take some time. Understood? You have put effort here, you have attended 10 classes, you have coded, you have understood something here. That's why it's very clear for you. Understood? These statements are new. Obviously what will happen? It will take time to understand. Okay. So that's how it happens. So yes, this was the output what we were predicting here. This is the output of this program. So this is what we have to understand here in this program. In this program we have to understand these two things. So here you can see instance block and constructor are not executed because I have not created object. Are you following now? Here instance block and constructor are not executed. So fine. Let us do like this now. One line I'll add extra. H is equal to new hello. Now very interesting thing. Can you predict the output? If I add one line. Begin main. Inside static. Inside instance block. Inside constructor. End main. Understand what happens? Are you following now? If I add just new, class also is loaded, object also is created. That clearly shows that first static block. Begin main first. See output for this now. If I add one line, begin main. Inside static. Then inside instance. Then inside constructor. And lastly, end main. If I just write one line extra, two output will come extra, but you are predicting what output here. Begin main okay, inside constructor okay, end main okay, but two lines are coming extra. Which are there? Static and instance. Okay. So after creating one object, you create one more. Hello, h1 is equal to new hello. What will you say? Only instance block constructor. M1 will not be executed. Methods you have to call. Methods will never be executed. Clearly see the life cycle now. Hello h2 is equal to new hello. Only see object creation will happen n number of times. So this will go on. Which one? These statements will keep on executing. Inside instance block, inside constructor. Sorry, only one. One second. Means only two things, sir. Instance block and constructor. That will go on. So that clearly shows that you have created 3 objects now. So when an object is getting created, there's 100% your constructor has to get executed. But static block will execute only once during the class loading time. See the flow. Okay, which one is used, why, we'll see later. First you have to understand how it is getting executed. Now when we write logic, we'll split our logic. Some code I'll write in static block, some code I'll write in instance block, some code I'll write in constructor, some code I'll write in method, some code I'll write in finalize. But what code we write there, that I'll tell next. See how you split the logic. Are you getting it clear now? So this is done. I'll call system.gc. Anything will happen? Nothing will happen. All are referenced only. I'll say h1.m1. Method will be executed now. So methods are executed only when I call it. When you want to execute a logic, you call. Understood? h2.m1, call. That's your wish. You call 1000 times. h1.m1, h1.m1. Go on calling. Okay, after calling you say system.gc. What will happen? Nothing will happen. But now h1 is equal to null. I'll dereference. h2 is equal to h3. It is dereferenced. Now I'll call system.gc. How many dereferenced objects are there now? 2. So you can see 2 times finalize gets executed. So you can very clearly see the flow. Class was loaded once, 3 objects were created, and you could have, till they were referenced, you were using the object, and once they are dereferenced, they are getting destroyed. Yes or no? Destruction evidence is what? You can see finalize getting executed, no? So this is how the objects are getting created and destroyed. This is the life cycle. You should be clear with this. So exactly if you want to tell this code, see there is one object h1 which is getting created, then h2 will be created, then h3 will be created. Where I'll write? See, this is h1, this is h2, and one more will be there called as h3. After all the 3 objects are created, what will happen? This address will be 150, this will be 250, this will be 350. Then I'll say h1 is equal to null, means it will refer to null. This will be dereferenced. h2 is equal to h3 means h3 value will be given to h2. So now means h3 value given to h2 means what? h2 will refer to this. So this becomes dereferenced. Objects are getting created and they are getting destroyed. Class is loaded once, and class will never be unloaded. Objects will get created and destroyed, but class will never be unloaded now. Okay, classes are destroyed means classes are unloaded only when the JVM shuts down. So till your JVM is running, classes are there in the JVM, especially in one place called as stack frame. New words I am introducing now. All the classes will be loaded into one place called as stack frame. Understood? Are you clear on this? So this is how the flow goes on now inside the JVM. So we'll have a demo on this now. Shall I clear everything? A variable spaced here. I just told you your class can have any type of members. Okay, here I am concentrating on what? How your classes are loaded, how your objects are getting created. Okay, shall I clear everything? See, everything you have to analyze here. Coding is very simple. Okay, coding is very simple in Java. After studying so much, Java is giving you such brilliant support for coding everything. Lastly, it will tell don't code also. Heavy libraries are there. Understood? But when you want to work with library, okay, you should know how to work with the class now. Existing class you want to work. That is why we are going deeper like this. When we start working with built-in libraries, writing logic we don't know. Yes or no? Can you write logic? You don't know. Okay. So Java will give you logic, but how to use that logic at least you should know now. This is what Java says. Don't bother about writing logic. We know you don't know how to write logic. Understood? We will give logic, but at least use the logic. And developers in Java fail to use also. You'll see it. I'll be showing you very clearly. Everything is ready-made here. Developers only don't know how to use it. So many classes are there. You are using already string class, system class, but you don't know how it's working. I am getting output, you are getting output. Later on technically explain you how these things are getting executed. Clear? So work with class. Logics, don't bother. So class I can write, what will you name now? Static block demo. So this is a static block, that's it, over. You mention your block with like this, it will become static block. This is a valid member of the class. Now if I don't write anything, it will become instance plot, as simple as that. Next. Okay, then I'll write one more, that is constructor. So I'm adding the default constructor here so that I can check the flow. Then you can write on M1 method also now. These are optional. Now writing method and all is optional. If you want, you can write M2. I'll not write it, just I'll go with void finalize. What happened? Public void finalize, okay. All the members ready? Okay, let's see how to use now. Okay, let's see the program now. It will only print what? Begin main and end main. That clearly shows class is not loaded into JVM. Classes are loaded under currently 3 conditions. Java means hello, which one? When I say control to no, actually Java demo only is getting executed. Understood? Either you go and DOS prompt and type now. Java, what will you type? Static block demo. Okay, we have configured it in such a way that instead of typing it again and again, we can execute it from here itself. So Java is executing, that's why our class is getting loaded. Which class? The class containing main method. But hello class was not loaded now. Yes or no? We are saying hello h is equal to null. Now it is not loaded. So it should be very clear, like we write our user defined data types and we should know how to use it also. Simply writing means what is the use? I mean simply if you know how to write a class and don't know how to use the class, there is no use. So now see how to use it. I'll just print. What is that? Okay, I'll declare a variable. Okay, just to access the variable I'll declare is equal to 5. But I'll make it as static. So I'm only going to print value of A's. That's it. Okay, done. So what is the output we are expecting now? Begin main value of A's. But you can see in between one more thing will come. What will come? static block will come. Class has got loaded. Understood? Now I'll print not only h dot a, I'll print it one more time. You print it 3 times. You are accessing the static member 3 times, but class is loaded only once. That clearly shows static block gets executed only once. Are you clear this? Okay. So then, and there is no question of system.gc also. No, nothing here because we have not created any object. See, these are all libraries what we are using. System is a class. Now guess, GC is a static method there. Are you following now? GC is a static method present in class system. Slowly you'll understand. So this is how you use the library. Till now blindly you are writing. But from the library what we are doing now? GC is a method which contains a logic for invoking the garbage collector. Who has written the logic? Java people. Learn to use it. Don't write. Understood? This is what the library says. They know that you can't do it. Yes or no? So system.gc. But objects are not there. So you cannot see the execution of what? Finalize here. Understood? You can't see the execution of finalize here. Are you clear with this? Here then next we'll create the object. H is equal to new hello. Now things will be different. Get ready means you have to get prepared in such a way that you should know how to use the library brilliantly, I'm telling you. So many things are there in the library. It's a vast subject. If you want more money in a package, you expect what? 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs, 4 lakhs. How much money you want? That many methods you know, that is sufficient in the library. How much methods you know, how many classes you know, built-in classes, that much more package you'll get here. Understood now? It is very smooth sailing further, but first understand how to work with the class. That's why I'm insisting so much. Okay. So now see, we have created the object. Now you can see what's the output. Static block, instance block, constructor. Okay. So here I'm saying new. So that's why class also got loaded. Object also got created. But now we'll do one thing. I'll not create the object here. I'll create the objects after value of a is. Where is the class loaded? So what is the output you'll predict now? First static block. Then it will print value of a. Then it will create the object. Yes or no? Then instance block and constructor. See, static block, value of a is, then instance block and constructor. Earlier what was happening? All the 3 were happening in the same time. See here. Okay, I will not print this now, I will cut this. Now what will happen? Static, instance and constructor, all 3 will happen at the same time, because class is getting loaded plus instance is getting created. Class is getting loaded plus instance is getting created now. But if I add this line, class is loaded in this phase. Object is created in this line. So when object is getting created, JVM sees class has already been loaded. Only I'll create the object. So while creating the object, what will happen? It will execute the instance block and it will execute the constructor. That's it. Understood? So if you want, you can create more objects. Now that's your wish now. Play around like this. Whatever you do, play around like this. And yeah, are you got the idea now? Okay, so then I'll write h1 is equal to null. We'll see the execution of finalize now. See, finalize is not over. Don't think it is over. I'll be using it extensively. Just I'm carrying you how to write code now. Then I'll say h1 is equal to new hello. Now where is the class loaded? Class is loaded in this phase. Understood? Or I'll remove it. So class is loaded here. First time class is loaded plus object is created. Now only object will be created. Check. So static block will execute only once. Very clearly you can see. Static block once. Instance block, constructor. Instance block, constructor. Instance block, constructor. End main. Clear? Instance block, constructor. So how many times you create the object, that many times instance block and constructor will get executed. Okay. So then next time, okay, system.gc. The garbage collector will come now, but it does not find any dereferenced object. So there is no execution of finalize. Okay, but h1 is equal to null. There are many ways an object gets dereferenced. See, in Java you can't destroy the memory, you can only abandon the memory or dereference it. If you want to destroy any object, just say h2 is equal to dereference it. How you dereference, that's your wish. But now I am calling system.gc again. Yeah, anyway, it's printing after end main, that's secondary now. But just say finalize, two finalize got executed, means two objects have been destroyed. Objects we created 3. Class got loaded once. 3 objects we created. 2 got destroyed. Are you following? So object is not a small subject. Class also is not a small subject. Yes or no? Now what is class understanding? Huh? What is object you are understanding? Still more to go. So practice. Okay.
So except h1 is equal to null. That statement, comment on this.
You want me to comment everything? What will happen?
Comment.
Huh?
Send go to folder structure. Static demo of Java, delete all this.
Delete all.
After compilation.
Okay, deleting and all you try. Okay.
After compilation you can get that.
Dot class you want to delete, huh? Which one? Which dot class? Huh?
Static local. Demo.
What I'll compile? Which program? Same program. This and all you try, man. What doubt is this? Okay. Simply you want to ask doubt, you'll ask doubt. Okay. So are you clear with this? I told you now, simply all unwanted, these doubts will be cleared as you progress ahead. Okay, there's nothing to doubt. But one thing you can ask, what I'll do is, delete that, delete this means what I'll do here? I'm here to delete or teach you. Okay, so all that deleting, adding, you do it. But see one thing, see now when I compile this, hello.class has been generated here, no? This hello.class. It will be having which code? We are using, remember, we are using hello only in many places. See, in all the programs, we are using what? See, here also I am using hello, here also I am using hello, here also I am using hello. The hello will be the latest one, which I have compiled. Okay, now I have compiled. Where I had compiled? In this program. Now if I try to use here, I will directly try to execute. It will give me error because it will be picking that previous .class file. So if you want this program to execute, again you can compile. Okay, some mistake is there, I think. Okay, declare it first. Again you have to compile and again you have to execute. Now after this is compiled, now I cannot execute here again our previous program. Which one? Which one was that? Static global demo. No. Block demo. This will not execute now because it's picking that whole .class. So in every program, if you use the same class name, try to compile it. That's it. Okay. Now deleting and all you try. Enough. Okay. Then what question is that deleting and all?
If created means that means be loaded up to JVM.
If created means it will be loaded.
That class file we created there, which means loaded to JVM.
When is the class getting loaded into the JVM? I've written it very clearly there. Read the points. When is the class getting loaded into the JVM? When you compile or when you run the program? I've given the points also very clearly when it is loaded. Understood? First read what I've given. It is loaded when you use Java command. It is loaded when you use new. It's loaded when I access static member. Now if you ask me to compile a load means what will I do? Understood? So it gets loaded into these particular stages only. First you compile. See, only when the dot class is ready, then I can load it now. Without compiling and generating dot class, how will I load it into JVM? And loading will happen how? By using class path variable. Every time a JVM needs a class, it will refer to class path variable. The dot operator is there now. We have set the class path as what? Semicolon dot semicolon. All your dot classes will be picked from the current folder. All your dot class files will be picked from the current folder. That's it. Built-in classes will be loaded from where? You set the class path, C drive, JDK, something slash, JRE, lib, something you have set now. Tools.jar. Tools.jar knows where is rt.jar. So your classes are loaded from the current folder. Class path we have set, long back we have set what? Class path. So your classes will be loaded from current folder, and this will be built-in classes will be loaded from rt.jar. But where is rt.jar? Tools.jar knows it. So when you run the program, JVM knows from where to pick. Provided dot class is there, then it will load. If it is not there, from where it will load. So the first class is always loaded with Java command. Other classes are loaded with new or when you access static member. Simple as the story. Understood now? Very simple. Okay. That's why I was teaching you class path in depth so much. I have taken 2 hours of session only on what? Class path, why you set, so that it becomes helpful here. I'm setting the platform there so that further part of the course becomes easy for us. Focus on the initial classes. You have to pay more attention to the initial class. From the scratch I am carrying. Are you clear with this? But I'm not telling the subject is over. My concept was now static concept. Class loading, object creation, still more topics are there which I'll be covering. I'm just going with static now. There are so many concepts which have to be covered. Okay, when we go on to learn one, other one will come in between. We should not focus on that. We should focus on the current subject. Understood? And yesterday night I didn't by heart all this to answer your question. Yes or no? Yes or no? I should by heart and come now. Do you think I by heart? So this is the flow actually. Okay. So this is what we are trying to learn. Are you clear with now how the classes are loaded, how the objects are created? So compile, keep your dot class ready, and where it is you have to guide the JVM. You have to guide the JVM by setting the class path. That's it. More we'll see. Okay, more. Too many things are there to cover, and we'll be covering this. Done then. Then we covered with this one, and now we'll see the difference between what? Static block and instance block. First we'll cover off the difference. You know the difference between local blocks and instance block now, yesterday we discussed. So now we'll see the difference between instance block and static block. So it's up to you now. Okay. Now what is the type of code you write in static block? Static block is generally used for executing any logic which you want to execute only once during the class loading time. Class loading time you want to execute any logic only once, write it there. Any logic. Now what might be that type of logic? You might have a question. Okay. One of the kind of logic what we write there is initializing static variables. One of the logic what we write in static block is, many logics are there, but one of the prime logic what we there is, static block is used for initializing static variables. Static block will be used for initializing static variables. Are you clear with this? Switch it on. Okay, so static blocks are used for initializing static variables. Instance blocks are used for what? Initializing instance variables or anything. Okay, we'll see what logic we write. But basically we use these two for this particular reason. For initializing instance variables you have two locations. One is instance block also, other one is constructor also. But we prefer constructor. For initializing instance variables, we prefer constructor. For initializing static variables, we prefer static block. Okay, so you can take the difference. Block defined inside a class. Inside a class, remember that. Block defined inside a class without static keyword is called as instance block. It is executed only once in every new object when it gets created. Their block defined inside a class with static keyword is what? Static block. If you want one more point, you can add. What is that? It is used for initializing what? Instance variables. Instance block. See, I can do the initialization of instance static variables in instance block, but we don't do it. We'll see it. All these points we are going to cover now. And here it is used for initializing static variables. Clear? It is used for initializing static variables. More programs we will see. More programs. Okay. So are you clear with this? You can write it. So that's the difference. And you know the difference between, if you want, you can have the difference between what now? Static and local also now. Local blocks executed every time the method is invoked. So these are the, how many types of blocks are there now? 3 types of blocks are there. Static block, instance block and local block. Java is providing you 3 types of blocks. See, one by one we are finalizing everything now. Almost all we are coming to an end now. Okay. One is local block. Second one is instance block. Third, we'll take it second one as static. Third one is instance block. Do you have any questions with these 3 blocks? Do you have any questions with these 3 blocks? Local block executed every time the method gets executed, and you can provide a name. You can give name to local blocks. Understood? And in static block gets executed only once during the class loading time. Instance block gets executed when the new instance is created. Every time a new instance is created. Static block is used for what? Initializing static variables. Instance block is used for initializing instance variables. But we prefer constructor for initializing instance variables because constructor has the ability to accept external values from outside the class. Understood? It has got the ability to accept external values from outside the class. Yeah? Okay, more programs we'll see. See now, if you don't initialize a static variable, what will happen? It will get the default value. Okay. Class hello. Static int a. Now let's see how to initialize the static variable. Okay. You can do it in many ways, but just I'm showing you. Fine. I'm not completing it, initialization. I can do the initialization in what? A is equal to 3. Valid code. But when the class is loaded now, first I wrote 4 stages. Notice, when the class gets loaded, 2 phases I wrote. Static variable is declared and initialized. Then I wrote static block gets executed. There are 2 phases I wrote. Okay. So when the static variable is declared and initialized, initially it is 0. And when the static block gets executed, now the value of A will be initialized to 3. Now it will be initialized to 3. First initially it will be 0. Okay. But you should not, even though I can do it, A is equal to 5, I can initialize or forget, if I comment this, if I want I'll comment, I'll remove the static block. I can initialize it here also. But now when the class is loaded, it is initialized to what? See the difference? Okay, I'll not initialize here. Okay, now the difference you'll find. So why they insist you to do the initialization in static block, that I'm telling you now. Okay, see PSVM. So I'll write hello.a. Class is loaded and the value of A is what? 0. So these are all SCJP interview questions. Be careful with this. These questions, they look very simple, but you should be very clear with this. Clear? But if I write next line, H is equal to new hello. Now if I print hello.a or H.a, that is secondary now. It will be what? 3. But every time you create the object, it is overwriting unnecessarily now. Every time you create the object, hello h1 is equal to new hello h2 is equal to new hello. Again the instance block gets executed now. It will overwrite now. Why do you want to simply trouble it? Don't overwrite it again and again. You declared a value which was universally required by all the instances. Why did you declare a static variable? That same value was needed by all the instances. Why do you want to overwrite again and again? So don't do it. So don't try to initialize it in even though it is possible, don't try to do it. Are you getting it clear? Okay, next. You can do it in the constructor also. How? See, int x, a is equal to x. Wrong now. What will happen? What is the reason for you to declare a static variable? You needed a standard value for everybody. But now what happens? Hello h1 is equal to new hello of 5. See, initially, means I'll comment both now. I'm not initializing with static also, I'm not initializing with instance also. We'll comment both. Now, we are taking the third case. What is the third case? Initializing values with constructor. Hello h1 is equal to new hello of 5. What will happen? First, initially it is 0. When you say hello dot a, it is 0. Now I'll create the object, one hello object. I'll send the value of 5. So what is the value of a now? An object is, see, a is there. An object of hello gets created. A is outside. Initially it is 0. H1 is referring to this. So now somehow you'll manipulate. By manipulating it in the constructor, what will you do? You'll send the value. So what will happen now? Hello. The constructor gets executed. So what will the constructor do now? A is equal to x. Whatever value you are giving, it will change it now. Yes or no? There's only one copy. Now again I'll say hello h2 is equal to new hello of 10. What will happen now? One more new object gets created, h2. What is this hello doing now? Hello int x, a is equal to x. The value of 10 is given to x, and now it will again, initially it was, see, initially a was 0. When this line got executed, it is changed to 5. Then again when you create another object, it is changed to 10. It is for this reason you created the, which one? Static variable? No. Understood? So don't initialize it. These problems will come up. Understood? Even though you can do it, you can initialize it with method. Method more dangerous. Only one object can go here. The value of static variable is changing every time you create a new object. But if I write the initialization logic of a static variable in a method, every time I call a method, only one object is sufficient to go on modifying the value in it. Only one object. And when people start using it now, they'll means you will write the logic in one class, somebody will write the logic in another class. Finally, when you integrate now, will not get the proper output. So there will be confusion now. So that's why better you don't do the initialization in any of these locations. Okay. You can do the initialization with what? Dot operator also. See, I can do the initialization with what? Hello dot a is equal to 5. This way also I can do. But when the class is loaded first time, what is the value? 0. Understood? 0 it will be. So you should not do this. You should not do it with dot operator. You should not do it with generally static variables are initialized in 2 ways. Instance variables we depend on 4 ways. Hard coding, dot operator, constructor, method, anything you can do, but preference is given more to constructor. Static variables also can be initialized in many ways, but preference is given for static variables to be initialized either with hard coding or static blocks. Understood? Preference we give to, even though you can do it in many ways, we do it in only 2 ways. So how are static variables initialized? Yes, hard coding is good, no problem. You can hard code static variables because the same value is required everywhere. You don't want to change it. So beginning only you can decide what value you can give. So one is static variables can be initialized in 2 ways, or should be done in 2 ways. Can, it is many option. How you can initialize? 1000 options are there, forget it. Should be initialized in 2 ways. 1, hard coding. 2, in static blocks. But remember, in static block also you cannot send a value. What value you give there? It's nothing but hard coding only. You can't send external values now to block. That's it. So we give, this is a way we do it. Yes.
So since constructor is not non-static context, sir, can we initialize static variables?
See, instance variables and static variables can be accessed in static instance context. Instance variables and static variables will be accessed in instance context. That example next. Okay, are you clear with this? Any questions here? Okay, so preferences, see where to initialize? In static. Static variable should be initialized either in these two ways, hard coding or static. Clear? Next. Yes, the immediate, see, as I go with the class, I know your next out. So next, you have the question, which variable can be accessed where, what to do, how to do, little confused. You'll see next example now. So the next example will give you very clear idea about which member can be accessed where. Step by step we are going now. Understood? Step by step. When I complete one thing, I can go with next thing now. So I am completing one thing, end of that example you will get one doubt. To convince that doubt only, next example. So it is, we know, we are professionals. Every doubt we know because I am taking the class. I know what is the next doubt you will be getting. Clear this? Any doubts here in this example? Okay. So now we will see a very interesting thing now. See, there is more to static. This is only introduction still. I am giving you. Still more is there. You practice all this and come. One good example we'll see now. Class hello is there. We'll have static int a is equal to 1, int b is equal to 2. We are hard coding. Our intention here is not to initialize. Our intention here is to, this program is next demo for what? Which member can be accessed where? Means where can I access, these are questions you are getting now. Can I access static member in instance place or instance member in static place? Ulta pulta, all that question will be answered in this simple example now. Check out. So static int a is equal to 1, int b is equal to 2. Okay, so hard code it because we are not focusing on initialization. So now let's see. SOP, you put SOPs, then you'll understand very clearly. So this is static block, SOP inside static block. And when you print also, print it very neatly like this. Value of A in static block is plus A. SOP value of B in instance block is plus B. So try to print both. This is error we know. But you have to practice. Till you get the error, you will not understand. Understood? Till you get the error, you will not understand. So this is error. But type and say. B is error. You can't access instance member in static block. Okay, next. Instance block now. Yes or no? Go on seeing now. Where and all you can access. Inside instance block. Value of B in static block is. This class plenty of doubts will be there. You don't have to worry only. This class, all your doubts will be clarified only in the next class itself. Because I'll draw a diagram and explain to you. Clear, JVM and all that. Value of A in instance block now. Okay, this will execute. Why? When the class is loaded, static variable also is declared and initialized. Instance variable is also, when the object is created. See, you get the difference now. Why static block cannot access instance member? Because when the class is loaded, instance variables are not come into existence. When the class is loaded, instance variables are not come into, that's why it cannot access. But when an object is created, long before an object gets created, what happens? Class is loaded now. So that's why you can access static member also as well as instance member. See, when an instance, we have given you very clearly, see the notes. Okay, I told you very clearly, when an instance is getting created, what happens? Object creation phase, instance variables are declared and initialized first. In the object creation phase, I have clearly told you. What I have told? Instances are declared and instance variables are declared and initialized. With what value they will be initialized? Default value, 0 or whatever. Then instance block gets executed. If you want, you can initialize the instance variables in the block. Okay. If you don't initialize, you can do the initialization in constructor. So that's the phase now. Object creation phase. Instance variables are declared and initialized. Instance block gets executed. Constructor gets executed. And the address of the object is given to reference variable. So that is why you can access what? Static also, instance also, both. Now when it is true here, the same case would be for what? A method now. Static void M1. SOP. What is that? Inside static M1 method. Correct? SOP value of A in static M1. Like this only you write, then you will understand the output is from where. Otherwise it will print A, B, 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 you will not understand from where it is. And on top of that, I always teach you with what? Okay, sorry, clear? Inside you print the value in this one, again in void M2. Now I am lazy, I will write what? SOP inside instance M2 method, this one line, okay, fine. Now directly I'll print what? SOP A, SOP B. Done? Directly you print it. So in this you can see now what happens. Okay, very clearly you'll get the idea. So here we are checking variables, where and all they can be accessed. So variables can be accessed in blocks. I didn't access it in constructor now. Okay. After this I'll write in somewhere here you can write your constructor. See, you can write constructor in the last also. I'm not saying no. But the general convention what we follow is variables first, blocks next, constructor. So I'll write the constructor here. Hello. So what will I do? Means after the instance block you write it. So SOP inside constructor. SOP value of A in the constructor is plus A. SOP in constructor is plus B. Are you following now? So write all the members. Check out now. You compile. Where and all you'll get the error now? You'll get the error here now. Why you'll get the error? Class demo. See PSVM. If I call hello.m1, how will M1 access B when it has not come into existence? Understood now? So that's why you get the error there. Clear? Okay. So you can't access B here. See now, static member, see instance members cannot be accessed in static context is what I told you. Now what are the instance members? You can have a variable or you can have a method also. In M1, you try to call M2. You can call it wherever you want. Try to call it. It's within the same class. Not possible. Which clearly shows static members cannot access instance members. It cannot access variable also. It cannot access method also. Understood? Not only variable. Same will be applied for what? Methods. When you can't access B here, where's the question of accessing M2 here? M2 is the instance now. Where are you trying to access it in? In M1. This is not possible. Understood? So this will also give you error. You can't access. But instance members can be accessed everywhere. Check out. There's no, sorry, what is that? Instance members, there's restriction. Instance members, there is restriction. But static members can be accessed everywhere. Check out. Because they come to existence very long back. When the class is loaded, that time only they come into existence. Understood? Are you clear with this? Are you clear? You can try this. Okay, first you become clear with this. Then I'll come to main method. Because there also static is getting used. That I'll explain later to you. Understood? First you be comfortable with this. Are you all clear with this? Should I have to type you? You can practice it now. Only error you check out, man. There's nothing here. Where you can access, where you cannot access. So that is what we tell. Instance members cannot be accessed in static context. Context means static area. Okay. Static area means which one? Static block and static methods. Static context means static block and static methods. Are you clear? Are you clear? It's a big subject. You open Balguru Swami and which one? Complete reference today. Only one page you'll find. So imagine from how many examples, how many books I have referred now for teaching you all this. Sheer experience. So since you have never read it in your lifetime, that's why little take time for you to get adjusted. But once you code, it is very simple. Are you clear with this now? Okay. So I think we are done with this. We'll see some points. Shall I clear? See, still some doubts are there. Why I have not completed? Understand that also. I said I did not say I have completed what? Static keyword. Some keywords will take a lot of time for understanding. Like this keyword, it took 2 days for us to understand. Static keyword also will take some 2 more days to understand. Understood? Int, float, 1 day only you will understand because you are very intelligent. Means yes, learned it long back, no. So that's why it will be easy for you. What happened? Okay, see, just I'll finish it off with this this one now. You can write it later. Static is a what I rubbed? What happened? Sarandre. Okay, static is a keyword now. Are you following the points now? Check this. It is used for declaring the members of the class. I did not explain one point. This is used for what now? We'll come to that. It's used for, it cannot be used with local variables. Try to access, declare a local variable as static. That I did not show you. You can try it. Declare a local variable as static. You'll get error. Local variable means no? Class hello, void m1, static int a is error. These are local variables. This will give you error. You cannot make your local variables as static. Then static keyword cannot be used with constructor. See, constructor is related to object creation. It is not related to class loading. Are you getting the point now? Constructor is related to what? Instance creation. Is it related to class loading? So obviously it cannot be static. Getting the point now? Okay. Next point. Static members belong to class. Okay, this point we are pending. We'll see it. Static members can be accessed without creating an object. Static members. Now see, clearly I am explaining. Static block and static method cannot access non-static members. Cannot access non-static members, that is instance members. It cannot access. Now again, elaborating the point. Instance variables cannot be used in static context. I showed you. That is static context of static members directly. Okay, they cannot be accessed. Can I access the variables directly? Not possible. Instance method cannot be invoked from static method or static block directly. Okay, then this keyword cannot be used in static context. Why? This is used for referring to the object. This keyword is used for internally referring to the object. Now an object only is not created, how will you use it in static context? Understood? So very clearly, that's why I am highlighting the point here. This is a reference variable which refers to the current object. Revising it for you. Okay, so this keyword cannot be used in static context. Then next point is, there are so many explanations for that, but simple I am giving, because this keyword is used to work with what? Instance variables, and instance variables cannot be accessed in static context. This keyword cannot be used to access static variables, because this is a keyword which is used to work with what? Instance variables and not with static variables. They belong to class, because see, static variables belong to class. Try it, you will only understand. Okay, the next few more points. But static and yes, we saw this. Static variables and static methods can be accessed in instance method or instance block directly. Now static keyword can be used with the following members of the class. This point. Next we'll see what is it. See, variables which are declared as static are called as static variables. Variables which are declared as, first point, declared as static are called as static variables. Static variables belong to class, and they do not belong to instance or object. This point I'll highlight next class in depth. Okay, but understand they belong to class and they don't belong to instance. Memory will be allocated for static variables, or they come to life when class is loaded into the memory. Getting it now? When class is loaded into the memory. Next point, static variables are destroyed only when the JVM shuts down, but instance variables are destroyed when the object is dereferenced. Remember these all things. Okay, so now static variables are declared and initialized to default values if we do not provide values when classes are loaded into JVM, if you do not provide it. Now there is one and only one copy of static variable and it belongs to class. How many copies are there? Only one. Next, static variables behave globally, because if the value is changed then it will affect globally. This point also clear. Then static variables are not global. Yes, they are not global. Why? Because they have to be accessed with class name or reference variable. This point also clear. Static variables can be accessed in static context directly. Now static variables can be accessed in instance methods also. Okay, fine. This point, next class. Static variables are stored in heap. Okay, next, scope. What is the scope? Means where and all you can access it. You can access static variables within the same class or outside the class. How will you access it? With the help of dot operator. Outside the class you access it with the help of dot operator. I am telling dot operator should be used with class name or reference variable. Static variables are used when the same value is needed for all the instances. This is the story about static. Okay, so I give you plenty of examples for you to make you understand that. Now methods. Methods which are declared with static keyword are called as static methods. Static methods can be accessed without creation of an object. They can be accessed either with class name, reference variable, or by creating an object. Static methods cannot access instance methods. Getting it now? All these points you can see now. Now static methods are used when we want to write some logic without using the instance. Means why do you use static method? I will use static method when I want to write some logic without using the instance variables. That also we will see. Okay, so why do you use it? Then next, static block. Blocks which will be executed only once when the class is loaded into JVM. Static block can be used for writing any logic which we want to execute only once during class loading time. Why do you use it? Okay, our static block is generally used for initializing static variables. These many points we have covered. Okay, next class we'll be seeing more things. Object class loading phase, object creation phase, the big stories which we'll be seeing. Next class, stack, heap, everything we'll see. Okay, then your ideas will become very clear. This is class loading phase and this is object creation phase. In depth you'll see it. Okay, then you'll understand the memory, JVM and all that we'll cover. So with this I think, then after that we'll see all this difference between the three variables. Okay, that's it.